What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Summertime Rendering. This is episode 20, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Mhm. So it definitely looks like we are approaching the final stretch of the series at this point. Considering like what happened in this episode and like whatever limited options that Shinpei has left. So we pretty much pick up after the end of the last episode where Hizuru is still trying to fight off Shide. But in the process, she calls out Shide that his goals are significantly different than Heine's. Like, as we know, Heine's goal is to supposedly go to like this shadow afterlife, so she can be with her family of sorts. But Shide, Hizuru points out of something that she remembers from one of the prior loops. I think it was the third loop back in episode 5, in which she directly heard from Shide at the time that he wants to end it all. Now it's pretty ambiguous.
This is my ending.
This is my ending. Yes. So it's not really clear of like how Shide wants his way to end, but it's pretty clear that that Heine is pretty much caught on to this sort of thing and is pretty, I don't know, she's really wary of like what Shide is planning after she's heard this, but she's still willing to help Shide out during this battle. So after that they continue their fight, and then soon afterwards Hizuru transfers her brother's consciousness, or his I guess his essence, into Shide's body, in which Ryunosuke emerges from Shide to pretty much gain a physical form after all this time.
Yeah. I can't say I expected that. But it does make sense considering, if you think about it, like he's been within her, I suppose, this entire time. So I guess she could somehow separate him from herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also I'm curious on what role that Ryunosuke is going to be playing now, because I think this is the first time that he's held a more significant role after Ushio's supposed passing. So I would believe that Ryunosuke might become like a new companion for Shinpei for the remainder of the series.
Yeah, it's possible, I guess, that he could kind of take the place of Ushio for at least, I guess, the time being. Yeah.
Well, anyway, so what happens soon afterwards? Hizuru's body just completely, just suffers irreparable damage. Like her muscles and her bones just completely shattered as soon as Ryunosuke obtains his new body. And then soon afterwards, Tokiko jumps in with her two headless baby shadows. And then soon afterwards, it transitions back into Shinpei's perspective, and Shadow Mio, who find out I guess they reach where Mio was, but he finds out that he's too late, and they find out that both So and Mio were taken to Heine's real body down in the caverns, and Shadow Mio confirms that she can feel Mio's death. So soon afterwards, they end up decapitating this clone Shide or whatever it is, and they try scanning him, but Shadow Mio reveals that this Shide has no memories or sorts, or is immune to whatever she was trying to do to scan him. So they eventually follow the bloody trail from the sewers, and then they also find Tokiko, who ends up being wounded. I guess she was wounded during the fight, and she ends up dying soon afterwards. And we also find out that Nezu and I think it was that the police officer guy also ended up dying as well. So soon after that, Shinpei.
Well, don't they also like was it Shadow Mio that scans like can look into her Tokyo's memories of what happened to her?
Yeah, she looks into like what happened, and pretty much like everything just went south for pretty much everybody after they got split up. So Shinpei, of course, decides to loop one more time, even though he's warned that like he's very close to his limit. But Shinpei decides like he's going to use this one last opportunity to hopefully save everyone else. So he ends up shooting himself in the head, and then soon afterwards he's able to catch up with everyone else, including So and Mio, before they go into Alan's garden to be ambushed by Shide. And then let's see what else happens. He pretty much rendezvous with everybody else and gives them
they
all
kind of
intel.
rush through things here too, like because I guess because Shinpei really has to try to beat get ahead of everybody, and also to get to that island on time.
Unfortunately, even though Shinpei is able to save everybody else, this supposedly gave Hani enough intel to I guess change the outcome from that last battle from the previous loop, and and then of course Shide uses it to its advantage to pretty much impale Hizuru.
Yeah, I was a little bit like I can't say I expected Hizuru to die. Of course Shinpei tries to save her by looping again, but at this point I think he would be going like the event horizon has caught up with him. He wouldn't be able to loop anymore. So he's basically he can't save her. So yeah, they actually of course they end up killing off Hizuru, which I guess like I said, came as a bit of a surprise. I guess I should have expected certain important characters to die, but for some reason I just and I guess mainly because of the whole looping thing, death really hasn't really felt all that permanent in this series, I guess, until now, really. But it's more interesting now because death kind of, since Shinpei really, I guess, is kind of out of loops at this point, it feels like if character dies, then they're really dead. So I mean,
and pretty much Hizuru doesn't regret this moment. Pretty much like I think in a way this gives Hizuru some amount of closure after everything she's been through, and of course her last moment is deciding to pass on Ryunosuke's shadow or consciousness into Shide now. No, not Shide. To Shinpei now.
Yeah, I mean that'll be interesting because I mean we've really only seen Ryunosuke through Hizuru, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how he interacts with Ryunosuke himself and how he interacts with everybody else, and also just how he reacts to his sister now being dead. But yeah, that's pretty much where this episode ends, and it's just, I mean, it's probably definitely one of the better recent ones, just because of what ends up happening with Hizuru. I mean, I really like their character, and it's one of the characters I probably, I really didn't want to die. But I do like now how, like I said, it feels like the characters no longer really have, they can't really, like, Shinpei can't fall back on the loops. So they all have to, I would say they all now have to be like extra careful not to die. But I'm also wondering, and I think we were all kind of wondering, like, is Ushio going to come back at some point? And I really think that the shell that Shinpei's carrying probably has something to do with that. And like we've been speculating, I guess he could use that eye that he supposedly, I think, got from Hizuru or Heine, to try to bring her back.
Well,
Um,
technically, if I remember correctly, I think it was Ushio who gave
or
Shinpei that eye in the first place,
yeah,
and then she mentions based on like her prior memory, uh, she remembers that she's actually Heine's right eye, which she formed from. So it's possible because like we saw like Ushio's body disintegrating in front of Shinpei, but we know like Shinpei still has that right eye, which originates from Heine, but it's also part of Ushio too. So it's
yeah.
possible that I think there's a possibility that that Ushio might come back in some way.
Another interesting thing too is that before Hizuru dies, she asks Shinpei basically to save Heine because she believes that she's being, she's this whole time she's been used by Shide, which kind of makes sense. I mean, but yeah, like I don't, I think if I guess Shinpei's going to end up trying to save her somehow. But I guess they really need to, Shide is the one they really need to try to defeat. And then I guess maybe worry about what to do with Heine afterwards.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think we only have like 5 more episodes left of the series so far, and I'm curious, like, well, I'm still curious of when it's gonna come out on Disney Plus, whether or not we're gonna get some more info on it, because
at this rate, it's probably going to be once the series is complete.
Yeah,
and then sometime after that, it'll come out on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but overall, I did like this episode. It's it like I said, it is really going on into its final stretch of the show with pretty much like with everything all on the line, with Shinpei really technically being out of loops, and with Hizuru pretty much being permanently dead unless they throw in some shenanigans and how to bring her back, but I really doubt it.
Honestly, I kind of wouldn't like if they did something like that. I mean, it kind of annoys me whenever some series they'll kill off an important character, but they really don't want to commit to it. It feels like, so I kind of hope they do with this, because it does feel like it is impactful and it will like affect things going forward. And I just feel like to revive her at some point would kind of, I don't know. I just feel like it kind of undoes the effect of her death.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was a good episode. It just leaves us on a terrible cliffhanger. I'm kind of curious as to, of course, how they're going to handle things from here on.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
because without Hizuru,
yeah.
like it does make things very difficult, because she definitely was, I would say, a lot of the reason why they were able to get as far as they did. I mean, Shinpei definitely contributes a lot, but I feel like Hizuru had a lot of really good ideas and strategies and was very useful. And without her, like, I mean, maybe Ryunosuke will be able to, fill her shoes to some extent, but
Yeah.
I definitely feel like without her, they kind of have taken a hit.
Yeah. I mean, well, with Ryunosuke inside Shinpei now, I mean, Shinpei also has the risk of damaging his own physical body if Ryunosuke takes control. I mean, we saw like how much physical damage that Hizuru's taken pretty much over the course of the series whenever he takes control of her sister's body.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how that works. But yeah, that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.